Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Highway Operations Center. We're here today to provide information about tomorrow's winter storm that we expect to have impact across the entire state. We're good? Okay. So, look, this is not intended to be a record-breaking forecast, but it is expected to cause hazardous travel conditions, potential power outages, and coastal flooding. So we ask that people prepare accordingly. I'm joined today by our MEMA Director Dawn Brantley, Secretary of Transportation Monica Tibbits-Nutt, State Highway Administrator Jonathan Gulliver, our General Manager of the T, Phil Eng, our Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Rebecca Tepper. The National Weather Service has issued a storm warning from 1 a.m. this morning, 1 a.m. Tuesday, I should say, to 1 a.m. Wednesday. We expect there to be anywhere between 8 and 12 inches of snow across the state. It's expected to be a heavy and wet snow. Lower amounts will occur along the south coast and the Cape and Islands. Most of the snowfall is expected to happen between 9 a.m. tomorrow and 2 p.m. tomorrow. And that obviously would have severe impact on both morning and evening commutes. There's also a high wind warning for Cape Cod and the islands, and a coastal flood warning for Suffolk County and all points south. The likely impacts of this storm are as follows. Dangerous driving conditions with low visibility, snow accumulating quickly, and this will be a heavy and wet snow. We expect high wind gusts with the potential to bring down tree limbs and power lines that may cause some damage in places. Minor to moderate coastal flooding, especially during Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday morning high tides. In terms of preparations, we're focused on keeping residents safe and being in a position to help communities in need. MEMA will continue to track the storm closely and will coordinate preparations with our state agencies and private sector partners. Crews are on standby to address flooded roadways, downed power lines, and coastal flooding. Our Department of Public Utilities is in touch with our various utility companies who are already putting plans in place in terms of storm preparation and responding in the event of power outages. We are directing all non-emergency state employees in the executive branch agencies to stay home and telework, work remotely tomorrow. This means, unfortunately, that many in-person services will be closed. So please check if you have plans or an appointment. We ask that you avoid traveling tomorrow during the storm if possible. Plan ahead, use extreme care if you do need to go out. It's a good idea to clear snow and ice early from your car, keep your headlights on while driving, and have an emergency kit in your vehicle. We ask people to stay off the roads, but if you have to be on the roads, please travel safely. Do not crowd plows or work vehicles. Stay back at least a couple hundred feet. Now, the T tomorrow is planning normal weekday service, except for shuttle buses on the Mattapan trolley line. But disruptions are, of course, possible, so check MBTA.com for updates. In terms of preparing for potential power outages, it's a good idea to charge all your devices before the storm, check your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, have a plan for medical equipment that requires electricity. Please do not leave space heaters unattended, and do not go near downed power lines. Stay informed. You can always consult mass.gov/MEMA, MEMA, or follow us at MassMEMA on social media. I am grateful to all the state employees and others who are out there working hard right now to prepare for the storm, and will continue to work hard through Tuesday and Wednesday. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to our MEMA Director, Dawn Brantley.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Governor Healey. MEMA began monitoring the storm Friday and began preparing with state partners over the weekend. This morning, we held a coordination call with Governor Healey and other state agencies. This is expected to be a short duration winter storm that has the potential to be high impact depending on the final storm track. So although the track may change over the next however many hours, 4 to 12 hours, it's always better to be prepared than caught off guard. MEMA is monitoring and responding to resource requests from communities who are preparing for the storm. We are providing preparedness messaging for the public, so I echo the governor's recommendation to follow MEMA and the National Weather Service on social media to stay informed. MEMA's Eastern and Western Regional Emergency Operations Centers will activate early tomorrow. MEMA's local coordinators at the REOCs will facilitate outreach to communities as the storm progresses. Each of MEMA's local coordinators serves as a liaison for their assigned communities in Massachusetts and is the primary point of contact for resource requests and any additional assistance that the cities and towns may need during and after the storm. The State Emergency Operations Center in Framingham is currently operating at a level 1 steady state monitoring. Throughout the storm, you can monitor power outages on MEMA's outage map, which you can find a link on our webpage and social media. So I'd like to turn it over now to Administrator John Gulliver.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Governor. Again, my name is Jonathan Gulliver. I'm the State Highway Administrator. Thank you, everybody, for coming today to talk about this storm. It has been a few years since we've had one of this size predicted, especially in the Boston area. And we expect that, with the exception of the Cape and the Islands, this is looking like a major storm that's going to impact the majority of the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We are expecting heavy snow at times and intense snowfall rate that is difficult for plows to keep up with. So echoing what the Governor and Dawn said, travel will be very difficult and at times dangerous during the peak of the storm, especially during midday tomorrow. We are urging that road users who do need to be out use extreme caution. And this is the kind of weather that really you should be considering your travel plans for tomorrow, and you should be limiting your discretionary trips and work remotely if you are able to do so. We have been coordinating with our neighboring states, specifically New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, regarding truck restrictions, and truck drivers should start planning ahead right now for travel restrictions on certain types of truck types. In particular, starting tonight at midnight, we're going to be restricting empty tractor trailers, tandems, and special permit trucks. We, of course, are going to be adjusting as the storm wears on and making course corrections depending on actual roadway conditions. As for our overall plan, the Commonwealth is well prepared for this storm. We have plenty of equipment and we have plenty of de-icing materials on hand. Right now, we are waiting for the last forecast of the day to nail down our pretreatment strategy, but all of our districts across the state are preparing to put out pretreatment. That includes salt brine and magnesium chloride. That type of pretreatment enables us to keep ahead of the storm and prevents pack ice from forming on the roadways. This is expected to be a full call-out. That means that we're going to have close to 3,000 pieces of snow fighting equipment out on our highways during the peak of the storm. This is a quick-hitting storm, and I expect a cleanup, though, however, it could take some time. In particular, we're concerned that this is a heavy, wet snow followed by some cold weather rolling in the end of it, which could lead to some icing conditions. So even if the snowfall ends tomorrow night, drivers need to be on the lookout for ice that's going to be forming, and MassDOT will have crews out on our roadways for several hours afterwards to make sure that cleanup is complete and that roads will be safe for Wednesday morning. That said, and again, I want to stress this for anybody who is considering trips tomorrow, this is shaping up right now to be and predicted to be a pretty serious storm, and travel is expected to be very difficult at times. And again, to reiterate, with the snowfall rates that we're talking about, anything in the 2 to 3 inch per hour range, plows have very difficult time keeping up with that intense level of snowplow. So roadways can very quickly become snow covered and conditions will deteriorate. So we're advising to limit travel if possible. And if you must travel, plan ahead. Give yourself plenty of extra time to get to your destination. And again, especially during the peak of the day tomorrow, we're expecting this to be very difficult. So with that, we're happy to take. I'm going to hand it back to the Governor to take some topic questions. Thank you.
Great. Any questions on the storm?
Governor, do you anticipate going to the MEMA bunker tomorrow? I think we've seen you during it during the summer.
Well, we haven't had storms. I've been to the MEMA bunker a few times this year already, and I appreciate the good work that goes on, not just on storm days, but year-round. I'll be wherever it's helpful for me to be tomorrow, and in touch with the public. And again, our job is to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I hope you heard from the team that we're feeling prepared for this, and it does look like this could actually be a real storm, and we haven't had one of those, as we know, in some time. But I'm confident the teams are ready, and we just really advise people tomorrow to be smart. It's an inconvenience, we know. A lot of kids will be home from school. Parents are trying to figure out and deal with childcare. We're encouraging our state employees, non-emergency, to work remotely if they are able, and just trying to encourage people to avoid taking to the road unless absolutely necessary. Yeah.
And this is less than a foot, so you've had New England to say. It's been nothing. What do you say to those people?
Well, I just say, let's be smart and not be too glib about things. I mean, it is true, Dan, we haven't seen big storms in some time, but, the teams are predicting that this is going to be a real storm, and particularly the nature of it, right? I mean, what we're concerned about is this is during the week. It's during prime time, daytime hours. We're going to see snow falling at a rate of 2 to 3 inches an hour. It's going to be wet. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be hard for people, plows, to clear the snow. So it's why we need people off the roads, and even after the storm, recognize it's going to take some time to clear out. The other thing that will not surprise people is we're going to see flooding, because unfortunately, as a state, we have seen a lot of flooding this year. Throughout the year, we've got high tides we've got to look out for, and we're really looking out for our coastal communities and the impact of floods there. So we ask people to do what you need to do today to get ready, and we'll do the best we can do tomorrow. And as I say, prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Governor, can you talk about what government services or operations will look like at migrant overflow shelters? I know sometimes those folks are transported out of the shelters during the daytime. Can you talk about how those migrants will be accommodated, and also for folks who are on the wait list and not in an overflow shelter right now, what work is being done to get those folks?
I mean, this is ongoing work. It's work that continues. Our welcoming centers will be open, so functioning as normal tomorrow. Okay. Thanks, everybody. All right. Thanks, team.
Thanks.